Welcome to the program. The annual pre-budget drip of stories has already started, with the Prime Minister revealing she's planning to mobilise the long-term unemployed to help feed the nation's insatiable appetite for workers. The opposition leader, Tony Abbott's complaining that's his idea, and he says Julia Gillard's plan lacks detail. At the moment, unemployment's below 5%, and that means moving the chronically jobless into work will be easier said than done. Chris Ullman reports.
Working the room and making a pitch for more workers.
Every Australian should pull his or her own weight.
The Prime Minister's mapping out the ground for a budget push to move people from welfare to work.
We've got to match opportunity and responsibility. So I'm saying people who can work should work, and they have a responsibility to be in work.
The only fight seems to be over whose idea it was. Tony Abbott's also been preaching tough love for people on welfare.
The sentiments were the same, but there was no hard policy at all in the Prime Minister's speech.
No one disputes the dignity of work.
Lifting people out of welfare payments means you lift them and their families, and in many cases you can positively impact their communities over the long haul.
And the need for more workers is undeniable.
In 15 years' time, we're going to have a shortage of 1.4 million workers in this country if the economy stays the way it is. If the economy grows, it's going to be a bigger problem.
But with unemployment under 5%, those left in the jobs queue are hard to place.
People who are intergenerationally unemployed, people living with episodic mental illness, people living with a range of physical and intellectual impairment, and those things are not easily overcomable. If they were, those people would be in jobs now.
500,000 people who are in this category, if we could get them into the workforce, it goes a long way to solving our labour shortage.
In Sydney's sprawling western suburbs, 20-year-old Rachel Speechley has been unemployed for a year.
They're looking for people with a lot of experience, and if you don't sort of have that on the paper that you're sending to them, it's kind of hard to show them that you can even do the job, because they'll kind of look at it and go, well, they don't have enough experience.
Rachel Speechley shouldn't be hard to employ.
There's nothing wrong with me at all. I'm just a perfectly normal person. I'm not that stereotype. There are stereotypes like that out. You see them when you walk into Centrelink, honestly. Sometimes you do run into people like that, but a lot of people, we're not like that. We just need to be able to have a break.
Others need more than just a break.
We know that the only way of getting them to a point of self-sustaining is to actually go on their journey with them, patiently helping them to increase their skills and their capacities and changing their mindset as to what life is about.
Wendy Mayman lives in Melbourne's southeast. She spent 5 years out of work.
Once you've been unemployed for several months, you just sort of fall into that trap, like a lot of people get caught into, and that's when your confidence goes down. So that's when you can't get a job. You just sit around and, stay home because you've got no confidence. So you don't care.
Wendy Mayman's pathway back came through a government-funded job program, AvoCare Learning Solutions. It specialises in hard cases.
Male, female, young and old. Some of our participants have had disabilities. But it's amazing. If you give them a job to do, they're all anxious to work and they're all anxious to learn skills.
Without the training, me being here, I'd be still on unemployment benefits. For sure, I know that. So these places are so important to help everybody, like all different ages too.
Yep, that's in Knoxville.
Sometimes a little tough love does go a long way.
There's a lady in Emerald, she wants...
I think it's successful because some of these people probably need to be toughened up a little bit. You don't show up, your pay is docked. You don't show up, you're reported to me. And I tell you what, I don't put up with people that don't want to look for work.
One significant hurdle is the tyranny of distance. The jobs and the jobless are thousands of miles apart.
We've got this imbalance. We need to look at the way we provide incentives and encourage opportunities for employment to actually be moved into those areas.
And there are two sides to getting a job. Lynn Hatfield-Dodds believes that too often all the focus is on the employee when there is also resistance from employers.
How do we shift the risk profile of long-term unemployed Australians for employers, and what can government do to provide employers with more incentive to actually offer people jobs?
She's always in crisis. There's just nothing left for food. She's living right on the edge.
And some in the welfare sector are suspicious of the renewed push to clear the dole queues.
She pays $600.
My biggest fear from what the Prime Minister has said is that this will not be a thoughtful policy rollout, but rather a knee-jerk reaction to perhaps some poll that has been read by someone in Canberra.
It's very disappointing to see leaders of political parties come out and have a crack again at people who are unemployed. I've never met anybody who's unemployed in the long term as a lifestyle choice.
So, what would Rachel Speechley say to the Prime Minister?
I guess I'd probably say to her, you have to tread carefully and you can't group everyone in the same place. It's just not possible. Everyone's different. Some of us are trying. I'm an example. We're trying. There's people that aren't. Crack down on them. Go ahead. I think that should be done as well. But don't be so hard on the people that are really, really trying.